the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill, the Adjustment Appropriation Bill, the Rates and Monetary Amounts and Amendments of Revenue Laws, the Taxation Laws Amendment Bill, the Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill, the Revenue Laws Amendment Bill, the ESCOM Debt Relief Amendment Bill, the revised 2023-24 fiscal framework, the 2023 adjustment estimate of national expenditure, and the medium budget policy statement. Madam Speaker, allow me to join the President and the nation in congratulating the Springboks on winning the 2023 World Cup for a record fourth time. This is a proud moment that has unified and brought joy to South Africans. Thank you, Maboko Boko, for reminding us that with preparation, commitment, unity, and resilience, you can conquer any adversity. In the same spirit, I'm honored to present the medium-term budget policy statement. This policy statement outlines our resolve to, among other things, stabilize public finances while maintaining support for the most vulnerable and protecting frontline services. Fast-track growth-enhancing reforms. This includes a new financing mechanism for large infrastructure projects. Reconfigure the structure and size of the state while strengthening its capacity to deliver quality public services. These priorities echo the message delivered by His Excellency, the President, during his address on Monday. Thank you for your commitment to staying the course of growth and sound public finances. Madam Speaker, the economic outlook over the medium term remains weak, reflecting the cumulative effect of power cuts, the poor performance of the logistics sector, high inflation, rising borrowing costs, and weaker global environment. The International Monetary Fund forecast global growth to slow from 3.5% in 2022 to 3% in 2023 and 2.9% in 2024. The weaker growth outlook for China, South Africa's largest trading partner, the lower commodity prices, and the risk that the USA interest rate will remain high for longer means global economic environment is less supportive for South Africa's growth prospect. Domestically, we forecast a 0.8% growth in real GDP in 2023. This is 0.1% points lower than the growth projection at the time of the 2023 budget. Growth is projected to average 1.4% from 2024 to 2026. These growth rates are not sufficient to achieve our desired levels of development. However, our economy has shown signs of resilience. Real gross domestic product, a measure of economic performance, is now above pre-pandemic levels. In the first half of the year, the economy grew by 0.9% despite record levels of load shedding. The tourism sector grew more than 70% in the period, driven by arrivals of more than 5.4 million international tourists. This year, we hosted the Formula E, the BRICS Summit, the Netball World Cup 2023, and this week we welcome up to 700 delegates to the 20th AGOA Forum in Johannesburg. We have put our best foot forward and reminded the world of the beauty of our country, the warm spirit of our people, and the world-class facility for doing business and investing. Other sectors of the economy have also shown promising signs of growth in the first 6 months of the year, including the construction sector growth by 2%, the agricultural sector growth by 7.8%, and the service sector is up 1.5%. 5%. Finance is 7.5%. In the words of the President, these are reasons for hope. Unfortunately, since February, the risks to the economy that we warned about, including the decline in global commodity prices that granted us substantial revenue last year, elevated inflation, and the depreciation of the rand have materialized. As a result, our public finances are significantly weaker. The main budget deficit has increased by 54.7 billion compared with the 2023 budget, estimate. This reflects lower revenue performance, higher public service wages, wage bill cost, and higher debt service cost. The main reason for this are a sharp fall in corporate income tax, particularly from the mining sector, although personal income tax collection was better than forecast. The result of the shortfall is substantial worsening in the main budget deficit in the current fiscal year. We now project a deficit of 4.9% of GDP compared to our previous estimate of 4%. Under these circumstances, measures to stabilize public finances and reform the economy to generate higher growth are essential. We recognize that alongside these measures, our most effective way of funding government is through an efficient tax administration. And by broadening the tax base, SARS will continue its focus on enforcing compliance in areas such as debt collection, fraud prevention, curb illicit trade, voluntary disclosures, and encouraging honest taxpayers to comply voluntarily. Every additional round of revenue collected is one rand less which have to be borrowed. Madam Speaker, allow me to frame our fiscal challenges as follows. Government spending exceeded revenue since the 2008 global financial crisis. These rising annual budget deficits have reached an extent where the government will have to borrow an average of 553 billion per year over the medium term. As a result of gross debt rising from 4.8 trillion in 2023-24 to 5.2 trillion in the next financial year, by 25-26, it will exceed 6 trillion mark. We now expect gross government debt to reach 77% of GDP by 25-26. This is higher than the level we forecast in February. Over the next 3 years, debt service costs as a share of revenue will increase from 20.7% in 2023 to 22.1% in 2026-27. The cost or interest of this debt for the next year alone amount to around about 385.9 billion. Over the MTF, interest costs amount to about 1.3 trillion. This is more than we spent on police, education, or health. It is important, however, to point out that our debt levels and rising debt service costs are not problems in and of themselves. Our challenge is that the rising debt service costs are crowding out important social spending, and our economy has not grown fast enough to support increasing expenditure or our current debt levels. Therefore, this policy statement sets out our strategy for avoiding a fiscal crisis and preventing the build-up of systematic risk to the economy. These decisions we have taken include spending reductions and reprioritization, while also taking concrete steps to support growth. None of these decisions are taken lightly. They are taken in the short and long-term viability of public finances in mind. And in the interest of balance and inclusive growth, Madam Speaker, inefficiencies and wastages of scarce public resources is limiting our ability to effectively support services service delivery and economic growth. In this regard, the medium-term budget policy statement announces that action is being taken to review and reconfigure the structure and size of the state in line with the President's commitment in the 2023 State of the Nation Address. A joint plan to review government departments, entities, and programs over the next 3 years is being prepared. This plan will address overlapping mandates and functions, including public entities, and ensure that we create standards for more sustainable remuneration of executives that serve public entities receiving transfers from the fiscal.